Hello everyone and welcome. This is Dawn. I hope you're having a great day. Today I'll be making my second card in my Valentine series. I'll be making Valentine cards through the month of January to share with you, so I hope you enjoy them. For this card, I decided to use some of the same products I used on my last card. I wanted to show you different ways you could use them and get a different look. I did change some of the products out. I chose to go with a smaller heart this time. I'm using the Primitive Shaker Shapes die, and then I'm going to be using the Lovely Word die again, and then I'm going to use the Wild Weeds die set for the accent. So let's get started. I decided to use the Whimsy Stamp Vintage Script background and heat emboss it onto the Yupo paper. I'm using the 5x7 heavy alcohol ink Yupo paper. I'm going to be heat embossing with it. I feel like it stands up to the heat tool better than the regular Yupo paper does. I rub the Yupo paper with my embossing powder bag. I place the stamp over the Yupo paper so the stamp is at the very top of the paper. And then I'm going to stamp it with my Versamark ink. Then to stamp the bottom of the paper, I put Versamark ink onto the stamp. I pick the paper up and lay it on top of the stamp the best I can to match it up, and then I press down on the paper. I pour white embossing powder on it, and then when my heat tool is good and hot, I heat emboss the background. Yupo paper holds up really well when heat embossing. Just make sure not to stay in one spot for too long or it will ruin the paper. Now I'm going to make my alcohol ink background. I'm using the silver mixative and the alcohol pearl called Deception. I'm using the Holtz blending solution. I squirt the blending solution all over the Yupo paper and make sure to shake both the alcohol inks really well as all the pearl sits at the bottom of the bottle. I'll be using the Holtz air blower to move the inks around. Now, when I'm working with this silver alcohol mixative, I find putting it down first and covering the entire paper with it and letting it slightly dry allows the silver to stand out more. But you could use both colors at the same time if you wanted to. I keep putting the silver mixative down until my paper is completely covered. I find the mixatives dry much faster than the regular alcohol inks do. Once I have the silver down, I'm going to add the Deception onto the paper and more blending solution. I just keep using the air blower to blow it all around, and I just keep adding the alcohol ink and the blending solution until I have the desired look that I want. The best part about alcohol inks is you can't mess up. If you don't like the look, on how it came out, no worries. You just keep adding more blending solution and more ink, and you can easily keep the ink moving around and until you have the look that you want. The best part is even when it's completely dry, you can even go back and add more blending solution and ink to it. So that's what I love about these alcohol inks. They're so great to work with. What I love about the colored inks is you can get away with only using one color, and when you start blending it with the solution, you end up with like 3 different colors. You get a reddish color, some light and dark pinks, and people think you used multiple colors on it. So when I'm completely done with this, I'm just going to set it aside to dry, and it dries pretty fast. Once it dries, I cut it down to 5.5 by 3.5, and look at it. I think it came out gorgeous. The silver really makes a difference when adding it to the paper with the color. Now I'm going to do all of my die cutting and assemble the card. I'm going to cut the heart from some white cardstock. I'm going to cut 6 of the wild weeds from white cardstock. Then I'm going to cut the love sentiment from some white cardstock, and I'm going to cut it from some black cardstock. I'm going to cut 2 pieces of black cardstock strips into about 1/4 inch each, and then I'm going to use some of my scrap white craft foam that I had, and I have a 5.5 by 4.25 card base. The first thing I'm going to do is adhere the craft foam to the back of the alcohol paper. Then I'm going to adhere the alcohol paper to the card base, and I just place it in the center of the card base. I adhere both of the black strips to the card base, one on each side of the alcohol paper. I just put glue on the side of the alcohol paper and then I slide the black strip over it. Next, I'm going to adhere 2 of the leaves together to give the leaves extra support. One layer would have been fine because none of the leaves are really hanging off of the card and they're getting adhered to the card so they won't get bent. But since they're so thin, I decided to double up on them this time. I didn't do it in my last video for that card, and I kind of wish I did, so that's why I'm doing it for this card. For the sentiment, I adhere the black love over the white love, and then I kind of off-center it a little bit so that the white shows behind the black cardstock. Once I have everything where I want it to go, I adhere the leaves first, and then I'm going to adhere the heart in the middle of the leaves, and then I'm going to adhere the love sentiment in the middle of the heart. And to finish off the card, I'm using This Calls for Confetti products. I'm using the silver confetti. Lisa at This Calls for Confetti has the best confetti. She just got a whole bunch of new products in. One of them is actually a shaker heart, which I can't wait to get. I will have the link below if you want to check out her site. You'll be excited at everything she has to offer. Anyway, I couldn't find my favorite jewel picker, so it's somewhere in my craft room. I had to use my We Are Memory Keeper Quick Stick one. It has a sticky head to pick up the confetti with. And once I have the confetti where I want it to go, I'm just going to adhere it to the card with some liquid glue. So that's going to complete my card for today. Believe it or not, this card is super quick and easy to make if you wanted to mass produce it. Maybe one day if you're in the mood to make a whole bunch of alcohol ink backgrounds and do some die cutting, it'll be quick and easy to put these cards together. I want to thank you for joining me on the Whimsy Stamps YouTube channel. I would love for you to leave a comment below and let me know what you think of the card. Be sure to subscribe to the Whimsy Stamps YouTube channel and their other social media platforms so you don't miss out on any upcoming releases and great inspirational videos. Also, check out their website for all their new releases. As always, thanks for stopping by and have yourself a wonderful day.